Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the second day at When East Meets West, and the first talk of today. My name is Massimo Iannetti. I'm part of the festival team, and I'm glad to have you all here for today's talk in partnership with Europa Distribution, which I would like to thank warmly for all their support and help throughout these days, and also for this talk in particular. I don't want to say too much about the talk, but I would like to introduce our moderator, Michael Gubbins, who will guide the session and also introduce all our speakers. So without further ado, I will leave the floor to Michael and enjoy the session. Thank you.
Okay, how are we doing this afternoon? Anyone sleepy? Good, we'll try and keep you wide awake for this one. So we're talking about innovation. So those of you who don't know, Europa Distribution, its innovation hub, I think, has been at the forefront of looking at these different ways of connecting with audiences, but also running our businesses in ways which are more efficient, that are able to deliver that value that is so necessary from distribution. So what we've got is different aspects here of the key innovations of our time. So we're going to bring up Oliver from Usheroo. You will get to know all of these people soon because you're going to come and sit up here because they're going to give you a little presentation and then we're going to have a chat. So next up we have Timur. He's going to be the second one from Cassie in Germany. You'll get to know and love all these names as they go on. We have Carlos from Cretico. And finally, we have Mehdi, a company based in Boston, but actually looking very much with a European eye. So the way we're going to do this, if it's okay with you, is we're going to go up and we're going to do relatively short presentations. And as I say, what we'll do is we'll follow and we'll take out what we think are the main points or some of the key talking points that unite those innovations. If you feel the urge to ask questions, or there's something you want to know about either specifically or if there's just a feeling you have inside. Sometimes you get that, don't you? You just wake up one morning and you think, where is the world going? This is your opportunity. So we'll kick off then with, Ollie, you going to stand there or are you going to explore the room?
So many choices, so many choices. I'll stand up. I'll stand up to
beautiful.
Mix it up, get my own energy up. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Marilyn, obviously Christine and all the team, Valentina, Massimo, of course, for having us here. Yeah, it's a real pleasure to be here. I'm from a company called Usheroo. I will see if my slides are working. Yes, they are. Thank you. So yeah, my name's Ollie Fegan. I'm CEO of Usheroo, and we're a company based in Ireland. We work with distributors in around 30 countries around the world. Overall, we have 150 entertainment partners, but in the distribution space, around 100 distributors we work with. And so we also work from a Europa distribution network, around 22 partners, I believe, as well as distributors wider than that. So just to give a really quick context of what we do before I start putting you to sleep, I'm only joking. We basically, everything we do is we buy data about where films play in cinemas and streaming services. And what we do is we build digital, I suppose, platforms and journeys to get people to buy more content. I wanted to start off actually with a survey we did at the end of last year. We asked distributors around the world, including a lot of the Europa distribution network, I suppose, how is their marketing going? What are their challenges? And on a really high level, the two things that we saw were the biggest problems were the data that our partners had were not unified. So they weren't sure if their marketing campaigns were delivering results. They weren't sure if they were promoting a film, did it actually lead to a conversion? So we took a lot of the language that's there to sort of inspire us to think about actually what we're trying to achieve and what our view is for the next few years. And I suppose based on these conversations, we really realized that film marketing is really tough. And what everyone's trying to do is to become resilient. And so we were like, what does resilience mean? And for us, this means, a distributor needs to grow revenue with a lot of the time with a limited team and limited resources. But to do this, they need to deepen fan relationships. So they need to know who their audience are. And then with all the marketing they're doing and all their campaigns, they need to be able to make smarter decisions. So when we break this up about how Usher You helps, and I'm totally in some people's way here, so I'll stand over here for a sec. The first thing that we look... Oh, shit, sorry. I apologize. Sorry for the bad language. The first thing for us is really about building resilience through revenue. Like, that's how to make people resilient. And so we have two main solutions. We have a product called Usher You Connect, where we build a website for a distributor. We track all the films they've made. If that film is available in cinemas or on streaming services, we deep link for people to find out where it's available. And off the back of all of that, what we do is we provide analytics about what works. Lots of our partners said their website's already great, we don't need a new website. So we have a product called Usher You Select, where with 2 lines of code, you copy and paste it onto your website. And then you can add showtimes and streaming data to your own website. And again, we used to build one-off websites for distributors, and it's just such a waste of money. It's like you're separating your audience between 10 different websites a year, over 10 years, 100 websites, and you're not building, I suppose, one central hub for all your marketing traffic. So we stopped doing this, and we have some distributors who still do it, but we will tell you that we do not agree with building standalone websites because you're not building like a sustainable growth and a central place for your audience to find your content. Is everyone still with me? Yeah. Okay, yes, thank you. So I suppose with like, a lot of what we're doing is transactional. So like a film is in cinemas, buy your tickets, move on to the next project, films in cinema, buy your tickets. We worked with a Creative Europe project last year called Unlock the Community, where we're trying to make film more sustainable, more resilient. And we started to build a lot of functionality to allow distributors to first identify who their audience are. What I mean by that is build email addresses, through competitions, quizzes, how well do you know whatever the film is or the subject. And we started to build on top of that where we build a full website. Community tools like Letterboxd is the easiest way to describe it. We definitely took a lot of inspiration from them. So people can rate the films, they can track which films they want to watch. And then our system will reach out to someone who's in Madrid or in Berlin. When the film comes to cinemas in that city, it'll automatically say, hey, Ollie, this film's now playing in a cinema, where people can then find the deep links to make a purchase. Ultimately, what we're doing is we're really trying to help distributors understand who each individual is, which films they like, which films, genres they interact with. So in the longer term, you can say we know you like this film, we think you'd like that. And it's trying to, there is elements of big data, but ultimately it's really just trying to understand on different scale, depending on the distribution's size, who their audience are, what they like, and then being able to communicate with them to buy more content. So yeah, like I'd mentioned, I think everything, where we see the industry changing, it has been very transactional. It's really about now personalizing this so that we can actually speak a little bit more humanly to our audiences. The final piece which we've spent, I suppose, a lot of time and energy on is around this insights piece. And in our survey, really what we saw was a lot of distributors are so busy with limited teams going from film to film to film that they don't necessarily have the time to review what's worked and what hasn't. So we have an analytics platform called Usher You Track, which allows our partners to see every marketing campaign they're doing. What's the engagement rate? What's the conversion rate? Down to a post or generally all social posts. But ultimately, where budget is so limited, it's about seeing which campaigns working well yesterday, cut out the terrible campaigns, spend more on the positive campaigns, and really sort of focus on getting the conversion rates up. And then by centralizing our partners, all their marketing campaigns to one website, they can start to retarget people and then start to track things like SEO. So we want people to find the site organically. Where we were building one-off websites, everyone who came to the website was paid. What we're seeing now for some partners like a Contra Corriente, 40–50% of their traffic is organic, and obviously that's a lot more efficient from a cost perspective. So my parting not gift, that's actually not a gift at all. Generally what we see here is like resilience is about ownership. It really is. It's about owning your own digital platform. It's owning the relationships with fans. It's having full control over the e-commerce flow so that you own the conversions, own the data about the engagement rate, and centralize everything so that you can become just that little bit more efficient. And those small gains is what helps you become more resilient. So thank you so much. I hope I was on time, Michael.
Yeah, I'll let you get away with that one.
Thank you.
Thank you. So we've got a lot of themes I think are coming through already around empowerment, enriching, making a richer relationship with audiences, integration. So we're going to pick up a lot of these themes and think about them if you've got questions. And we're going to move on to you, Timo.
Awesome, thanks. I think I'll take the same spot. Funnily enough, we've been in talks with the issue guys because, all right, so this is the old order still, I think in that case.
Do it.
I'm happy to jump in. Sorry if I change the plot. Sorry, Timur.
Why don't you talk about
leave the best for after. So, hi everyone. I'm Carlos Jimenez. I'm part of Gretico, also from the Gretico is a company linked to a Contracorriente Films, a well-known distributor in Spain. And we're here to present DCS, Digital Cinema Streaming, which is basically, I always make the joke that on this innovation framework that we're discussing, I'm presenting a box which is like a 90s technology, but that we feel that brings a lot of value in this particular context in 2026. Let me try to explain what are we talking about now. What's the main idea, the main goal behind this project, which is the cinema within reach of all. The goal of Gretico is to bring not only cinema, in fact, any kind of culture to everywhere. Okay, let's consider the following, because it's something that it's happening not only in Spain. In Spain we have this phenomenon that we call the empty Spain, la España vaciada, that it seems that it's across many markets in Europe or everywhere. Basically, it's quite simple. If you live in a town that's below a certain yield of people, let's say 10,000 people, you'd not having a theater, and you will never have a theater because it's not worth getting a DCP. Not only that, if you have to drive 20 minutes to go to the closest city, it's highly likely that there's a theater over there, but you get maybe one screen with the Disney new release. You'll get Avatar for a couple of months. And so you don't get access to a lot of content. That's what should resonate to a lot of distributors saying, hey, I'm not getting the traction in a huge part of the market. A huge lot of eyeballs are not being able to access to my films, to my movies. Okay. So what's this? The DCS, you might find that it's quite close to the DCP. It's done on purpose, of course. The idea of DCS is this I would say, this quite simple analogic box that allows to stream on cinematic quality and with all the security features necessary. And it's possible to program movies premieres, but also live events, also classic cinemas, and also it allows to create experiences such as, for example, we always said that this example that if you have, let's say you have a Q&A with the talent in a premiere, you can inject a QR and then from your phone, from your village, you just can ask a question to an Academy Award winner that is sitting a few kilometers away from when you're staying, that you're basically in your hometown, okay? The idea is the technology is quite simple. There's the DCS server that pushes the content without any downloads. It's just streaming, and that gives all the control to distributors. In the past, what happened is that you have to send the print and you lose completely control of what was happening and how many screenings were done. And now you have control. It's basically it's analog to a KDN, okay? There are plenty of advantages. I'm not going to go deep into the technical advantages, but there are cost savings. There are, of course, operational efficiencies and technical advantages. Basically, we are using what the streaming has changed our consumption at home in the last 10 to 15 years to also the theatrical market. Okay. This system doesn't only work for villages or hometowns or things like that. It's also present in commercial cinemas. I mean, it's a system that has been proved. How do commercial cinemas use that? They had their first 2 or 3 screens with DCPs, but for the 4th or the 5th screen that they have, they just have the DCS, and they are able to program the independent movies that we have loaded in those screens. So it's much cheaper. The key of this whole business is that it becomes very cheap for distributors to upload. I mean, it's basically free for distributors to upload the content, and it's super cheap for venues to program through this system. We have a couple of success stories. I encourage you to take a look if you have, if you want, at least for the second one, the Figueruelo de Abajo one. Believe me, this is a name of a village that feels a little bit comic if you say it in Spain, and it basically tells us a story, a real story of a town of 200 people living there that has become the smallest town in Spain with a live cinema, and they run up to 60 sessions per year with 60 people. So it's absolutely amazing. It creates a sense of community, and now they're using it in many ways. I mean, they run free passes for kids. They do paying passes with new releases. So it has been putting together the people around the town. But this requires another part. The part to be successful is the part where you enter, the distributors, the content. Currently in Spain, and being led by a Contracorriente, we have been able to have joining on board basically all the independent distributors in Spain. Okay, that means that if you want go to the Gretico webpage and you ask for, okay, I want this movie to be premiered in my hometown, you just have to ask and Gretico will get in touch with the distributor and manage the payments. But basically, what this translates for distributors is more eyeballs, more sessions, and direct revenue stream that wasn't even existing in the past. And I think I'm going to give it there because I already stole Timur's time.
No, I'm excited to see who comes up next. But let's hear a round of applause. Again, I think what's really interesting here is that we've got yet another aspect of innovation where the first was about how you make connection with the audience, but why not increase the places where actually people see films and build that localized cinema culture? It's kind of fascinating stuff. Tim, are you on?
I am, apparently. Oh. Yeah, such a great endeavor. Yeah, I started with Ushuru because Ollie and we had lots of chats on how Cassie can basically be integrated into Ushuru, because sort of what Ollie does with all the data is what we do with social media. Maybe just quick hands up, who planned to do a social media post this morning? or wanted? And then who actually did it, basically, right, is the question. So, yeah, all right. So it's a simple system. A social media assistant in your pocket. It's only partly true because I recommend the desktop version, but that's aside. So basically, quick problem statement. We all know that social media, you need to be present on social media. So, but the problem is basically a budget dislocation. Can you say dislocation? No, not really.
If you like.
Yeah, okay, maybe not the painful version, but you have a problem, you spend all your money on your great movie, and then there's no money left to market it on social media, right? It's just a sad reality. Also, most smaller indie productions, distributors hate social media with a passion, except if they would have a social media assistant, which they rarely do, right? So this is where Cassie comes in. Yeah, it's pretty straightforward. You upload whatever data you have on your movie, synopsis, images, posters, or you link up your Google Drive. And then if you also trust us, which you can because we never share your data, you can link up your accounts and we will try to best mimic your style of writing and voice. And then basically you can post. And you don't need any social media expertise. Yeah, it's basically that, right? Very much an assistant. We're working hard on making it even proactive. So basically, you give it a goal, and it says like twice a week, you definitely want to post. So it will remind you, not just remind you, it will proactively generate a post. And because people are really good at complaining and disliking things, but they're really bad at coming up with ideas in the first place. So this is the idea that basically Cassie would then take all that data from your movie, suggest a post or various ones, and then you can basically take that as the starting point, right? Yeah, so we're working also very hard at on the campaign builder. So I can't wait for that one. Basically, where you give it, it's a true agent that you can talk to, and it really feels like almost like a human on the other end. And you tell it like what your goal is, what you want to achieve, and it will then basically take existing posts or new posts that it will create, and basically try to distribute it smartly based on also the channel. So it will take into account that maybe Instagram should have another posting time than, say, LinkedIn or YouTube. Yeah, and it's really like a very conversational flow, so you don't need to have a lot of technical expertise. And that's basically it, right? So we really look for smaller productions and local businesses. So basically not the massive productions that have like 5 social media experts in the team. That's not what we target. Yeah, we have lots of features coming, YouTube and TikTok integration coming because a lot of people obviously also want to post little clips. We're working on an AI editing agent where you can upload a longer clip and it basically cut it down automatically and maybe even do a vertical version out of this. So lots of stuff in the pipe, but that's just the outlook. Yeah, we've been part of the EFM startups last year's Berlinale. Yeah, we give it away for 60 days completely free, the full version, but there's also an always free version till eternity where you can sort of post 5 posts per month, so pretty generous. Also image editing capabilities, you just click on the image and you say remove the ugly person in the background and it will just do it. Also beautiful people it will remove. So yeah, sign up, I'm here and we're really looking for feedback of what you guys specifically need to be the perfect system to promote your movie. Thanks for your time.
Thank you. So again, it's very interesting how people increasingly are giving names to their AI assistants, which is a bit worrying. But now we've got one that nags you when you're not doing the work, which...
We're working on that, not yet, but next week.
...was going to tell you off. Excellent. Okay, so we come to our final Mehdi. Oh, thank goodness you are there.
Hey guys. First of all, thanks to ED for having me. Thanks to When East Meets West. It's really nice to be here. It's really nice to see a full packed room. It's really impressive, so thank you very much for that. The name of the company is Molten Cloud, M-O-L-T-E-N. If you don't get it, it's on the socks here. Mostly what we do at Molten Cloud is rights management, but it comes with a little bit more than this, and I'm going to walk you through this a little bit. Just a couple of words about the company. The company is based in Boston, USA, but you would hear my accent. I'm not from Boston. I'm the Frenchest American you'll meet today. I lead the European expansion of the product, and these are a few of our clients. We've been operating for 9 years, and that's pretty much it. So let's get started. As a distribution company, you will have to reach your audiences. An audience is reachable in various ways, either it's theatrical, TV, digital, and you're gonna face a couple of, let's call them challenges or maybe hurdles, such as dealing with rights, metadata, content, delivery, royalties, promotion, invoicing, scheduling, a bunch, and probably many that I'm not highlighting here. We're gonna try as much as possible to address them. Most of you already have systems existing. I'm sure you have them. You have probably a patchwork of tools that you are trying, sometimes successfully, sometimes not, to integrate all together. That's what we're trying to solve, fragmented operations in the media industry. I say media industry because we not only work with films, but also with TV. So the answer to that is hopefully Molten Cloud. Molten Cloud is a cloud-based infrastructure that gathers 3 pillars, 3 modules basically, and you don't have to subscribe to all of them. Some are using only one, some are using all 3 modules. You can start with 1, upgrade with 2, start with 3, and go back to 2. It's really up to you. The first module, and I think that's going to be the one we'll focus on today, is rights management. Very shortly, it's going to be availabilities, tracking your holdbacks, settling alerts. It's all the contractual side of things. You will understand that Molten is an internal tool. It's not anything relating to directly talking to your audience. It's cleaning up your kitchen first. So it's all about having everything in one single place. So rights management. The second one is content management. Content management is very simple. And that's the cloud part of it. You have cloud storage. You can store any type of content, any type of document. It could be a poster, can be a trailer, a DCP, could be a press kit, invoices, contracts, PDF, whatsoever. You store them, Molten secure them, and you can share them secure directly with your, anyone, any partners. It can be shared with theater, it can be shared with a TV platform, with a TV broadcaster, whoever you work with, you can deliver directly your content to. And the third part is the royalties. Based on all this, you're gonna generate value. You're gonna make money out of this content, hopefully. It's time to split it and to report to your rights holder. So that's basically what the royalties module is gonna be about. Basically, the interesting part about Molten is that it connects workflows across all departments of a company. We know that in smaller companies, sometimes sales can also be legal, and legal can be finance, and finance can be legal a little bit. Sometimes you have the multi-hat syndrome, but also for enterprise companies, more important companies, we have all these teams separately with basically what they will deal with in Molten. So that's pretty much how it looks. For example, sales is going to pull out avails to share with the TV broadcasters. Legal is going to enter contracts and check holdbacks. Content is going to, if you have a servicing department, they're going to store the content, check it, receive it, upload it, get it from the lab, deliver it. That's pretty much what we go across. But I'm more than happy to go in more details on a one-on-one meeting later on. So the core module of Molten, as I said, rights management, content management, and royalties management. We're going to zoom in a little bit, first with rights management. Okay, yeah. So rights management is going to be about 6 main things, but it can be way deeper than that. But we're going to start with titles. With titles we mean know what's available for which media, which license type. I want to know what's available for my TV buyer. I want to know what's available for this platform, this streaming platform. If I do library sales, it can be very granular, and we're talking about sometimes hundreds or thousands of titles. And all their metadata. Because I do think that today, and my marketing colleague here will agree on that, the value of a title is not the title itself, but also the metadata and the way to get to that title. So they are crucial. And we manage them in Molten. Contract management, obviously, so there's no title if there's no contract, so rights in contract, rights out contract, and all the granularity that comes with it. Tracking your holdbacks, the exclusivity, the language, the versions, all that kind of stuff. Workflows and tasks, so basically you can track reminders, like send me an alert when rights are reopening for TV or rights are reopening after theatrical release, that kind of stuff. The waterfall side of things is going to be important if we use the royalties module, so that's basically the split of value. Like, let's say for TV it's 20%, going back to my producer, that kind of stuff. Like basically the financial structure of the title you acquire. That's not necessarily useful in rights management, but if you use royalties, you're going to need that. Address book, it's basic, it's storing all your contacts, the contacts of your partners, being people and or company, and the relationship between these two. Data exchange is very important. Basically, we store a lot of data in Molten, and we allow you to extract them in any format, and it's very flexible. You can build your own export in Excel, PDF, you can rearrange the columns, change the metadata, like add some, withdraw some. It's really up to you, and you're very self-sufficient with it. And all the settings. You can have like a specific group of users with different access and that kind of stuff. Content management is going to start with your team uploading content, so any type of content without restriction on size and or format onto the cloud of Molten. We can integrate with any cloud provider, being AWS, Azure, GCP, or others, such as I think OVH. That's what we did lately with a European client. So that's definitely possible. And once it's stored, okay. Oh, if you guys can't hear me, just let me know. And there are different ways to bring the content in Molten. So these are different options. I'm not going to go too technical here, but cloud to cloud, from your Dropbox, because I'm assuming a lot of you guys are using Dropbox, the sacred combo Dropbox Vimeo, it goes away with Molten. Basically, the content management module replaces your Dropbox, your Google Drives, your Vimeo links, sometimes Preview for some of them. That's what we integrate with that module. And also all the options to get the content out and deliver it directly to your platform, to your partners, including platforms. We know the specs of all platforms. If you work with any type of platforms, we can deliver directly to them from the system. The third one, is royalties management. It's pretty straightforward. Data in being the revenue. You ingest the revenue within Molten. Revenue can be theatrical revenue. We can integrate with, for example, a booking system. I know most of you guys might be using Max. You get your Max receipts, your Max revenue. You integrate them in Molten. Molten automatically matches them with the title, with the contract, with the rights holder. Then we go to the second part, which is calculation. Basically, applying the contractual obligations that you have. So remember the waterfall side of things. We run the calculation and the data out. Data out is basically either internal reports for, I don't know, controlling purpose, or even the royalty statement that goes out to the producer. So data in, calculation, data out. That's pretty much it. A few numbers about Molten. 6 continents, that's where our clients are. More than 200 million rights. That's a lot, but a right basically being I acquired a title for TV on one single territory. That's a right. So we have 200 million. A cool one that I like. Last time we checked, we have more than 10% of all IMDb movies in database in Molten. So being produced, distributed on the platform whatsoever, our clients gather 10% of all IMDb movies. And these are a few quotes from our clients. There's one that doesn't show here, but I like. One of our clients says that they basically scaled their operation, so acquired way more titles, way more granularity with the same headcount. So basically, it's not about getting rid of people, it's just doing more with less. That's pretty much it. I hate this slide, but thanks for your attention. Please feel free if you have any questions. And if you want to scan this to book a meeting, a one-on-one meeting, I'll be around for the next 2 days. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Mehdi. Okay, so we got a lot of different approaches there and a lot of information, which is why I'm going to do something a bit cruel and just say to you straight away, which is give me in 2 sentences why the contribution you're going to make to distribution, independent distributors. I think it's really important here to understand that I'm sure those of you are distributors do, but for producers as well, that independent distribution is the connecting tissue between content creation and audiences. It is the essential center of the independent industry. So what we want to know is just really quickly, what is your specific pitch to indie distributors? Let's go for you quickly. And you've only got 2 sentences.
I think it's sell more cinema tickets and get more fans who you can reach out to frequently.
Right, okay. I could have done better than that one.
Sorry. Pressure.
The pressure is there. Yeah, go on.
Be visible on social media consistently.
Oh, beautiful. Beautiful. That's how it's done.
I would say reach places and people that you've never been able to reach before.
Okay.
I would say clean your kitchen first. That's my pitch.
Beautiful.
And everything tidy.
Beautiful. You threw a metaphor in there as well. So, I think it is really important. So at the moment, I think what we're living in is a world that is more complex. So, and what you're trying to do is, in your own different ways, is to simplify your relationship with whatever it is you're doing, whether it's cleaning your kitchen or whether it's enriching the relationship with your audiences. You could have said that. So I think what it's the element of relevance. I think a lot of this is about, particularly with AI, it's about in making things intuitive. It's making things as simple as possible. And the history of the digital revolution hasn't been particularly good on this front, because in lots of ways it's made it more difficult to do things. You've got to learn a whole set of new skills. But are we entering an age now, do you think, let's start with you, Carlos. Are we entering an age now where things are actually getting simpler? Actually, it can be more intuitive. There are things that you can do quickly that used to take lots of time. And is that a driver of your work?
Well, I would say that the idea here for us, for Gratico, for the DCS system, is to not even quicker. It's making it possible. I mean, and that means quicker in the sense that in the past, if you lived in this town, you had to completely forget about watching or to access the different kinds of movies, or you had to drive to the nearest city and cross your fingers. Now it's quite easy and quite simple with a super cheap system. You can get this cinema at home. I mean, not at home, at your town, at your hometown, let's say.
Yeah, again, I think that goes back to Mehdi. Maybe you can come in on this, because what you said was, it's not about taking things away. This is about addition now. We're in a world where, as a small business, you can expand what it is you do. You can be more efficient. You can grow, and that is the promise. It's not always delivered historically, but that is the promise of what you're all doing, isn't it?
Oh, definitely. Like, I didn't mention that. I didn't mention that specifically, but we obviously use AI here and there in the system, but we don't want to make it like the big thing, because we do think that it's absolutely necessary to use it, to leverage it, because you guys have to focus on acquiring good contents, pushing good contents, working with talents, and not focus on I usually, when people ask me what I do in this industry, I say I deal with the boring stuff, because once again, to stay with the cleaning metaphor, in the few AI features we have some kind of like AI reader. So you just drop a PDF contract in there, and it will suck in all the information from that contract and create your molten contracts within the system. So you don't have to spend a lot of time to go through your 30 pages PDF to just like get the fields, the durations, the holdbacks, and all that stuff. So it vacuum cleans your contracts. It does the same with revenue. When you ingest a platform revenue or max revenue, it will like AI powered link all these revenue to the corresponding titles, contracts, and then rights holder. It's a massive time saver. And once again, we're not like claiming that we're gonna cut off someone's job. We're just gonna make sure that that person can, like, let's say, you know, find, like, cut 30% of time spending doing this thing to like do something better, like look for better content, attend more festivals, talk to more talents, distribute more movies, focus on their audience more, and not being like doing that kind of stuff. Like
but that's what the promise is of all of you, I guess, is that you are releasing people to go and do the more creative and interesting stuff, which it's certainly the theory of where we're at. Let me just bring in, I'm going to take a question in a second, but let me bring in Timur. That's yours is even going beyond that now. So I think that is the promise of AI. And jump up if you've got if you feel skeptical about these things or you want to ask those questions. But the promises of AI is that effectively they're going to not only is it going to enable you to do more stuff, it's actually going to know what it is that you want. That's the promise, and be over time it'll be doing it on your behalf, I guess.
I mean, we on behalf is a stretchy term, because obviously it's more like a co-pilot, like you can picture it as an assistant that you would never be able to afford. But obviously that assistant would never create a social media post and push it out prior to asking you, very much. Like, I mean, that would be insane, and also that's not something we advise. And you also see that AI goes so far. Obviously, Cassie is very much AI native. Everything within Cassie is AI, but obviously we try to mimic a human style, but we would never, you know, produce a post and post it without you being in the driver's seat.
Yeah, so at the moment we're not at that stage. You're saying I'm going to talk about where the future goes, but at this stage, it's someone who feels like it's part of your organization, is what you're saying.
Very much so,
yeah.
Especially when we activate sort of the proactive mode, which we haven't sort of done yet, but like that's basically what people are asking us. We talk to so many people, and it's not so much about, I mean, once you sit down, you already say, I commit like 30 minutes of my day to create a social media post. Obviously, very few people do that. But if you do, then you get very far. But people don't do that. This is the initial problem is we need to basically kick them to do that. And you get that done by providing a draft that the AI does, but not the final piece. That's for the human to basically then create. But it only takes 3 clicks.
Yeah, I'm really interested. I mean, you've made that point. I think what's really interesting is that it is that mimicking of the human. And I think, Ollie, just quickly with yours, I think the bit that I think is really interesting again is it's that human element to this. What you're saying is it's no longer good enough just to have the box office numbers and to draw conclusions. You are increasingly adding functionality that's about you being able to access people's opinions and their ideas to give you a richer kind of feel for what's going on in the market.
Yeah, but at the core of everything, it's getting conversions. Like really, it is pure. It's pure e-commerce what we're trying to do, but like the e-commerce flow, you don't go to Amazon and just buy something. There's lists of your favorite earphones, there's reviews. It's understanding what's going to get someone to watch a film, and it goes beyond the trailer, it goes beyond a press release. And I think it's the full mix, but you have to be able to see if you're doing an ad, the same ad on Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram, with obviously little differences. Which is connecting better, which message, which audience. There's so many variables, and unless we identify which is actually working, and that's where the data comes in. It's actually having a little bit of time, because we work with so many distributors, and I honestly I totally understand the stress, because it's organizing press screeners, organizing so many, they're doing so many different jobs and wear so many different hats. It's having the time to actually analyze, it's challenging. And I think that's where AI comes in as well. It's maybe to put it into the inbox, have it in your inbox, this is working, that's not, change.
Yeah, so I'm just going to take a question over here. Hold on one moment. If you can introduce yourself as well.
Oh, sure. Yeah, my name's Gavin Seal. I'm a filmmaker from Canada. My production company is Intersectionnel Films, and we're developing a digital product as well. So this is going to be a very nerdy question that I'm going to direct to you, Mehdi, because I think the promise of your product's incredible as a producer as well. You know, the drudgery of chain of title and replicating deal memos and divvying up the waterfall for payouts, like that promise is substantial. Yeah. Having said that, I've used AI and I've spent time training to try to even do some basic personal income taxes. And I don't know if anyone's ever Googled the memes on like AI doesn't know math or time, because these are human constructs and it's trying to fix, like it's a facsimile of the idea of math or the idea of time, right? So I guess when it comes to legal contracts and finances, I'd love to learn how you're exploring how to solve those problems, if you are, if you aren't, in terms of like, at the end of the day as a producer, the fear that I'm experiencing, that hopefully your product is a Tylenol for, is that, you know, if someone comes back and they're like, you know, this contract wasn't right, or this isn't what you owe me, going through like the AI, I can't blame the AI. It's my responsibility to be responsible if someone wants to sue me, or I'm in Canada, so maybe not sue, but like, you know, it's my responsibility. And so how do you protect the producers if, you said it's AI light, but like if something goes wrong and producers maybe trusted it, how do you protect us from hallucinations on those two fronts, legal and accounting?
Thank you very much for your question, which is very valid. The answer is very simple. We don't send out anything without human validation. So anything that your AI PDF reader would extract from your contract, any clause, would have to be reviewed by a human before actually be pushed in the system. So there's no calculation that will be run based on a contract that has not been verified by a human. And the slide was showing up that like you can have different access, different based on the user. So for example, if you want only your head of finance or head of legal to be able to like go through the financial terms and the waterfall of your title, you can also control that once it's done. That's the first thing. The second thing is like when you go back, because that's going to be on the contract side of things, and when you flow back to the royalty system, which is going to execute these contracts, that's the same. Nothing's gonna get out before a human actually reviews the royalty statement, double checks it, and said it. Usually we would recommend, because what's gonna happen is the critical one is the first one. The first statement you're gonna send is the critical one, because you wanna make sure that the math are correct. And then the next period, you just click a button and run the same calculation based on the new revenue, or sometimes it's zero whatsoever. You'd still have to report. By the way, you guys all know that we have to report even if a statement is null. But basically, it's less critical because the system knows the math. So there's a learning process in the system that makes that protects you kind of. But the less positive answer is, would you like blame an entrepreneur, or would you blame the hammer if there's something wrong with your house or whatever? It's a tool. Everyone has to be aware of what it implies. There's only so much security we can bring in these tools, but at some point, and that's why we're not replacing human. We're just like enhancing people to be more efficient, but we want like the value that a human eye has on these matters is completely irreplaceable. I don't know if you have a take on that, especially for like social posts, because
I mean, obviously it's not critical for social media, but maybe to debunk that myth of AI not being able to math. I don't know if you guys realize, but like the Olympic medal or like Olympiad method, whatever. I mean, AI is basically crushing all these benchmarks, right? Like AI is very capable of math. I just want to debunk that. But like obviously this human in the loop aspect will become more critical, and obviously we have to be cautious that people are not getting sort of like downgraded as just these sort of validators, right? Like AI is doing all the work and I just have to click buttons every day. So obviously that's all like sort of on the user experience front. We have to make sure that humans are much more in the driver's seat than just like checking whether there's errors in there. But like not everything is AI. I mean, we can still do programmatic. Doing numbers. Excel has been doing that, and I think most of the time, in your case, it's not AI doing it. It's just getting the data in. But then the math is actually computer programming, which has been done since, I don't know, 50 years now, and it's very robust, right? So it's not AI, like, take all the numbers and see if the calculation is correct. That's not how these systems work. It's mostly sort of Excel-style logic under the hood.
Yeah, but isn't that the promise of AI, though? You're saying that it won't do that, but the promise of AI is surely that eventually it will start doing things that don't require you to be having that human layer in, because that's you're adding in a layer of inefficiency. You're saying, I will pay for you, it will do all of this for you, but you're still going to have to go and check it afterwards. Is there not a stage at which that becomes, that's what we're trying to get away from? It's meant to be exactly what you say. It's meant to be automated and trustworthy.
The drudgery, but not the fun part. That's the goal, right? From all of us, I guess. But like, I mean, what that is, it lies in the eyes of the observer, I guess, and is individually different.
Did you want to say something, Ollie?
No, well, actually, I think the one thing I'd add on to this is we've added a lot of AI tools for our distribution products, so understanding where films play in cinemas and streaming services. And when we started to do the AI prompt engineering, it was coming out with wild stuff. Like, it's really, you're going, like, this year means this year, and it was coming up with like last year or next year, and you're going like, how does it get that? So there's a lot of the prompt engineering that needs to be done to make it impactful. And it's not as smart until you give it the guardrails. For most things, you know, you have to really make sure your prompts are right.
And then you need to enrich the data, right? That's very important. Yeah, sorry. And it's very important that you enrich the, like you should never rely on ChatGPT or whatever system you use to sort of pull out information. You should always use it as what it is. It's a large language model, not a database or whatever. You have to attach data and feed it the data, and then really use it only as the sort of the human connector thingy that spits out or takes in language. But like, you know, you need to enhance and you need to upload your film's synopsis. It shouldn't make anything up, right? Like, and this is where then the prompting comes in. But like, don't take these AI systems and try to pull knowledge out. That's not what they're meant for.
The human thingy. That's not nerdy, I must say. I hadn't heard that term. Has anyone else got a question? Yes, we've got one at the front here. Oh, sorry, I missed you. You can come next. Oh, you're there.
Okay, hi, thank you. Alexandra from Czech Republic Distributor. What you presented was in English, but how do you guys deal with different language metadatas?
Question to which?
Who wants to
all
answer?
Of you.
I mean, it's a question for all of you.
I mean, for AI, Czech is obviously equally easy as it is with German, Spanish, Italian. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, and also it ideally adopts to the input language. So this is how we set it up. Like, if you talk to it in Czech, it will reply. And if it doesn't, you speak Czech now, and then it will.
Yeah, to me, it's completely neutral. So it's...
And as far as Molten is concerned, the infrastructure of the app is in English, but the metadata field can be filled with any alphabet are supported. We have clients using it in, like, filling it with Japanese, filling it with Chinese, filling it with Arabic. So these fields can support any alphabet. But the framework of the app is in English, though. But we support any metadata field language.
And this is where AI is making a huge, is going to make a huge contribution straight away, is by language translation is going to be really revolutionized, and that's happening in other industries. Yeah.
Hi, Vincent, distributor from Singapore. My question is for you, Carlos, for Gretico. I'm curious how your platform plays with existing exhibitors. You say that it enables access for people who are not close enough to a cinema, But and then you mentioned in your speech something about second, fourth, or fifth, like virtual screens. Is that something that is?
No, not about virtual screens, but
yes.
No, it's a fantastic question. In fact, it's a little bit tricky because in our case, as I said, we're linked to a Contracorriente, which is the main independent distributor in Spain.
Right.
So our clients are exhibitors.
Right.
So we don't want to harm them.
Right. Exactly.
The idea is, okay, let's not. We're doing this rule of thumb, the 20 kilometers, the 20 minutes. If you have to drive to go to...
Right. Whatever that friction point is for the consumer to go to the exhibitor, let's say.
That's exactly it. We're not trying to cannibalize our own clients.
Right.
We're just trying to offer, to expand the offering in the zone. As I was saying, what we've experienced, we have never received complaints from any exhibitor, but when we get some requests from some venue which is somehow close, we take a look. Okay, what has been this theater exhibiting the last 3 months, 6 months? Nothing independent.
Okay.
So that's why we say, okay. I mean, there's a lack of access to this kind of content.
Right.
So it's.
Is the quality of a DCP? Do you need a cinema to project your movies? Is it 2K? I don't understand.
No, it's 4K if you need it. I mean,
it's 4K.
Yeah.
So you need a Christian Barco projector.
No, I mean, the box, let's say, allows up to 4K, but and you need to project it with whatever. The philosophy is you can
at home.
Huh?
At home. Like you buy a projector?
Yeah, you could use this one. Of course, the better, I mean, you could use it here with this kind of chairs and this projector. Of course, the better is the venue, the better is the experience, the cinematic experience. The example that I was showing around, there's this town that they're using the excess of what they're getting from the tickets they're charging just to upgrade the projector. They are taking like €1 per ticket for 1 year just to buy a new projector for them to upgrade the cinema for next year.
Hold on 1 second. If you can wait for the microphone.
I have the same question. Okay.
No, you can.
No, please.
No, I'm not a distributor, so I might say something wrong. But what's the difference with a DCP? Like what you provide?
No. A DCP projector with KDMs costs around 30K.
No, the projector, yes, but what you provide, the content?
No, the content it would be the same. The idea is we are onboarding distributors that on top of creating DCPs, they upload their content to DCS server at no cost.
Upload the DCP.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
The file.
The file, yeah. They upload the same file, and this file is streamed through the DCS and then pushed to the different venues.
I think we can get stuck on this question because I think we are in a. I understand what the point is, though, that if it's going to be out and about in the and it's going to be in lots of places, the quality is going to be dependent upon whatever projector you have, rather than so you could show it on that, but it wouldn't be all that great. But you're saying that you could.
Yeah,
so,
of course. I was saying if it's even in commercial cinemas. Yeah. There are commercial cinemas using the same system. I'm just saying that if you live in a small town that doesn't have what a commercial cinema has, if you connect it with an HDMI to this one, the experience will be different. But you can project now the movie, and everybody will. Let's
shift on from this, but I understand the point. Maybe you could pick that up afterwards. I just want to leave with a kind of final question that for all of you, which is, how long? Oh, brilliant! You were saying I thought they were saying 7 minutes there.
There was a question here.
Thank goodness. Well, in that case, let's kick back and relax, man. No, well, I think this question is a really important one. Anyway, we are at a point with AI and with technology in general where it feels like we're at a turning point. It feels like we have reached a point where things are evolving. So it feels like we're at a very, very early stage. Listening to what you're doing, you're still at quite an early stage. It could be expanding into all kinds of areas that haven't even been thought of at this stage. So what I'd really like to know is to talk about how your projects might evolve, because if anyone's now signing up with you, where are you taking them? That feels to me like a really relevant and important question. So maybe start with you, Ollie, on that one.
There's a few parts of our product, but essentially we build either a website or we have a widget that can be plugged into someone's platform. I suppose the biggest things that we're doing is we're expanding the reach, so adding to new territories. We're building more sort of gamification pieces, so like helping people build competitions and quizzes easier. What we're trying to do for independent distributors is to remove barriers to work with us. So we tend to have a price point where someone has 11 plus films, and that's the lowest price. For the real independent distributors who may be doing 3 to 6 releases a year, we're trying to make sure we can offer the lowest price possible. We see there's a barrier to entry where they don't have enough content, so we're trying to remove some of those barriers.
So, but is that the key for you? I'm just trying to work out what the main thing is. It's lowering prices and making it more accessible, I understand, but what you're doing is also going to evolve. The expectations of your audience is going to evolve, or your clients is going to evolve.
Yeah, like I think, well, I suppose the currency we're dealing with is shortened attention span. Like that's the problem that consumers have. So everything we're doing is trying to see how we can have hooks to get them to engage better. So it's ever evolving. Like you can do image generation tools, where they can create their content easier, which is why we're chatting with the guys in Get Cassie. There's a lot in the AI world, especially around the analytics, like understanding the campaigns. But at the end of the day, what we're trying to do is to get someone's attention, to see a film, to decide if they want to go and see it and make a purchase. I think the core element's going to stay the same. The reasons why we watch a film, you need to understand what the theme of the film is, who the directors are. They're the things that we're experimenting with to try and actually get someone to realize that this film's set in Berlin and they love World War II films. If you imagine it was something like that. So to understand what the content is about is where we're trying to get people quicker. Because someone sees a trailer or they don't even watch a trailer. People watch 10 seconds of a trailer. We're trying to get someone who says, I really want to see this as quick as possible, with shortened attention spans and different formats, and we're still theatrical first, but we're agnostic to the window, if that makes sense. So if someone wants to watch something on their phone because it's not a cinema film for them, we need to make sure distributors are okay with that. But we would always believe that the cinema is where a film should be watched as a company. But sometimes you want to win the audience because they're deciding where they're going to see it. So I think it's really, look, for us, it's understanding who the audience are, where they are, what they like. But the ways we pull that, if that makes sense, can change film by film. But I think the biggest issue that we're facing is still distributors sometimes see marketing as a short-term fix. And I think what we need to change is the viewpoint to building long-term relationships with audiences. Because mass marketing is gone. Like, mass marketing is gone, especially for independent film. You cannot, ads on television are gone. Like, people used to read newspapers, and check the cinemas at the back, and that's gone. So the audiences are fragmenting and becoming more siloed. And I think it's using tools to find those audiences and trying to hook them to want to see that film where they want to watch it, legally.
It feels like a data-rich, like you need a lot of data to be able to do that. Or is that where AI is making a contribution in maybe getting data from elsewhere?
Yeah, well, I think the first bit is actually having the data yourself. So when someone goes to your website, there is millions of data points. So if someone looks at a film, there's the actors, the genre, the year, the country. There's so many data pieces that it's very hard to compute. Like, it's very rudimentary. If you say, is my film's about, like, Berlin in that example, and it's about World War II, which is a terrible example, but anyway, that's very rudimentary about what a film is. And a genre, it's like nobody likes just dramas or likes just horrors. So AI has the promise to look at this at a much more deep level, looking at the comparable titles, looking at comparable consumers, if you get me. But to make this, you need to have probably 1 million people coming to your website a year to really play in that big data space. But you have to start somewhere. And it's like I would always implore people to try and own their audience. Like that's like there is a direct, everything that's happening at the moment is building direct consumer future. That's where we see the future going. It's not letting Amazon control the future. It's not letting the cinema chain control it. Try to be in control of your own destiny.
Yeah, that notion of ownership. You should have said that as your 1 second pitch, but that notion of ownership, I think, is so critical from all of you in terms of the way things are going. Because you can talk about lots of functionality and AI and so on, but at the end of it, you still need to own that the space that you're in.
The one point I'd say is it's. I think stuff like AI scares the crap out of people, okay? In some ways, the basics are the same. I honestly think the basics are the same in this industry. It's like we have a limited amount of free time, you know, we've a limited amount of money, we want to see something or we don't, you know. There's tools that can help, but at the end of the day, it's quite simple, you know what I mean? I have a date night, what will I do? Will I go to a restaurant, to a bar, to go and see a film? You just need to be in their eye line and then have the hook that gets the right audience. And the hook's different for everyone.
You say that now, next year there's going to be a microwave sitting there that I'm going to be shouting to. It's going to know everything. Yes. So, yes.
Yeah, I mean, what you said in the beginning about the sort of democratizing, or what was it, over lunch? I don't know. Like, I mean, isn't it a funny part that now, as technology has evolved so far, that we have AI now, that it feels more humane in interacting with it than it used in the past? You don't need to have a PhD in computer science to be able to now create amazing output, right? So, and I think this is very much, I think some nerds call it the abstraction layer, and I think this is really what our core focus is making the abstraction layer feel the most humane as possible. So you really, so basically, most people have learned now that the chat interface is the ultimate abstraction layer. So what we try to do is, through that interface, make it feel like on the other side is a very capable assistant. And obviously, like I said, now that assistant needs to learn video editing, for example, next, right? It just needs to, you give it your video and then you tell it what you want, very much like with the social media post, and then it will edit this, and you can give continuous feedback. It's not like, oh, I need to sit down for 30 minutes to create the perfect prompt, but rather you throw something at it, it understands what you gave it, and then it will ask further question if it needs clarity, and if not, it goes to work. And then it will present something very much like an assistant does, and you basically have this constant, what feels like a very human interaction, and it just takes work off, right? Because this is not a chat agent, it's a chat system, it's a proper agent, and agents can fulfill tasks for you. That's the difference to these normal ones that only give you text. So in this case, it will give you a social media post, it will publish this, it will edit maybe. So this is the idea, and obviously we want to reach out via maybe whatever, WhatsApp or whatever channel you want that to be presented to you, and then you can stay there and maybe give the feedback there, something like this, really making that experience frictionless.
Yeah, you know, that is the idea, that it will learn as you go along. Your interactions with it will become more personalized. They'll become more, that assistant will stay with you and will be a very human part of what you're doing. But of course, that is where you would argue maybe that maybe the human starts disappearing as the thing becomes more efficient. Maybe you won't need so many people to actually get the same results.
That is true. I mean, that's true throughout, I would say. I mean, maybe not for you, but like, but I mean, like, we're all like, I mean, we would talk to hundreds of distributors now. Like, I mean, everyone is understaffed, and everyone sort of needs to get more work out, right? That's the reality, and this is what most of these systems are addressing. And I think people ask for this, and they're not like disencouraged if there's a perfect social media post coming out that they can use right away, right? They're like, oh man, this is taking someone else's job. Like, the reality is, most of our clients don't have social media people at all. Like it's sort of these many hats, and they would be happy to have the social media hat be thrown in the corner and like this AI system taking over.
Yeah, that's true. Overstaffed distributors it's not something.
It's a rare occasion, but
not something
you can also send those our way. Yeah.
But the democratization thing is only that when you're looking forward. The point I was making is, for the first time in this digital era, this digital age we're in, you don't need to learn a whole load of new skills in order to become part of this, which feels to me like maybe the biggest and most important thing about AI is that it is open for anybody. The value you get out of it is what is about your human interaction. Yeah. How does that, when you think about your business idea over the long run, where does that take you in your head?
Good
Apart
question.
from being a billionaire,
maybe also to clarify, so that we have Cassie, and then we're also building custom content workflows for big production studios, right? So obviously there's some trends there that are maybe a bit worrying, like the attention economy, like these sort of vertical drama things that are like shrinking down in duration. So those are interesting explorations, I should say, and we have to be cautious there. I mean, overall, I always joke, like, for me, it's kid in a candy store. I mean, coming from, like, I used to be a visual effects supervisor. I know, I mean, the amount of work that went into some of these shots, or not, because no one could afford some water simulation. And now it's really just like, it's very, very much in reach. So these things do excite me and scare me at the same time. It's always this sort of been torn in the middle, but like it's also extremely fun, and I can only encourage everyone to just embrace these tools, because they are coming and they will change the way we make films. And if it's necessarily for the worse, I think it's more like a sort of a character trait and how you take it. But like there's also a lot of benefits also, I mean, with lots of caveats.
Okay, well, I know, it is. I think what you're saying there is true, that there's going to be a lot more people getting very used to doing this.
Yes.
There are some issues around competitive advantage when you're doing this, which is if everyone's doing it, asking the same questions of the same. You imagine that there will be a lot of competition in your space, but maybe that's something to come. Let me talk to you. Whichever. Which would you prefer? Okay, then that's fine. Maybe where does it go?
It definitely goes to easier, like onboarding. For us, onboarding is really a question, because we are bringing a lot of change in the company. So like, having people trained with the system, having people, and trust me, it's very user-friendly compared to some competitive products, because we still have that like 3 seconds rule. So like, if an interface is not understandable in 3 seconds, we redo it completely. So it's very user-friendly compared to what you can have on the market, though we still have a lot of like difficulty to onboard the product, to make sure that people use it, to make sure that data is easily onboarded within the system.
Can you just explain onboarded for the less?
Onboarding is basically like getting you up and running with the system, right. Having it part of your workflows. And you have a lot of people who like, for example, a very, very straightforward thing. Today, if you're like asking Molten about like what's available for a certain territory, under certain conditions, for a certain duration, exclusivity or whatever, you would have to open some kind of like window, tick a few boxes, and filter your research. What if you would just open a text box, a chat box, and it's AI powered, and instead of like doing some kind of technical research, you just say, hey, tell me what's available for Poland next year. And the same results come out. That will like reduce the time of training people to use the system to like almost zero. Because I see that with like my mom, who's like 64. She just started using ChatGPT for a business, and she's so comfortable with it now in about a month, while she never ever would be like tech savvy or whatever, and she trusts it with her heart right now. Like it's with her life. Like ChatGPT is her best friend, and that's scary and also super like it makes me very optimistic, because we can bring people who are not tech savvy and into these tools to use them and to get the value of them. So it's a little bit different in your case, because your product is like AI native. It's like the whole value it brings is AI. Mine is not, but having an extra AI layer would make it way easier to handle for people who either are not tech savvy or just don't have the time. Because, and you know guys that we don't have the time. You guys don't have the time to like train a new system, implement it in the company, have everyone like up and running with the system. While it's like, you know, empowered by AI, you're trained by AI, you talk to the system as you would talk to a colleague. It would make it way more, like way easy to implement. And I do think that like in tech, if you're not like an AI native product, that's where AI can take you. Easier onboarding, easier implementation time, shorter implementation time, and it all goes down to prices, to costs. If an onboarding is shorter, it's cheaper. You have your team getting the most out of the tools that you are giving them or providing them with way quicker, and you get the value. So it's all about value.
No, I get that. Let me just ask you one more question, because I get that it's simple, and maybe this is something which will affect the rest of you, but often when people have had a go at, when you look at back-end systems, and we've all worked with CMSs and you know, the various, but the concern is always built-in obsolescence, that you've bought something and then in a few years' time it doesn't have the capacity and the ability to expand. What's different about yours that means that if I bought in, I'm not going to find myself having to buy something different further down the track?
I mean, you would be impressed by like how quick the people from my team, the engineer from my team, can develop something, and they are using AI in coding a lot. Like you would think, oh, it's going to replace like developers and they're going to lose their job. They are leveraging it in a way that is completely crazy. Like just an example, last summer we did like some kind of hackathon, like 2 developers per team and 24 hours to just code a product. And my team, we actually like developed in 2 days a very small add-on to Molten. It's not available right now, but it's in the pipe, which is some kind of like market body for buyers during a festival. Basically, you create your pipe of acquisition by just like taking a screenshot. You get a text from a sales agent saying, "Hey, screening tomorrow. Offer is this. Come to see the film, whatever." You send it to the app. It suck it out. It creates an offer, locates where in the pipeline it is, with the amount, which sales agent it is, which project it is, and the state of your conversation with that person in one day, all using AI. And they're so not afraid that this is going to take their job, because they use it and they do what we call, even I could do it. It's called vibe coding. It's just like coding with AI. You don't need like actual like a proper engineer background to get to it. So that's what like guarantees you that working with companies who are leveraging AI to get the best of their teams, you're always going to get the best version of the product, because things are going way quicker now.
I'm now thinking, no, you don't need to send distributors to festivals anymore. You can all stay at home, send your little robot over. That sounds like a saving. I'm sure that everyone will be voting quite strongly for that one. But I can see where it's going. So let's just, with you, Carlos, again. You know, I think with you, it's very clear in terms of the approach that you're taking. But does this expand? Is it about expanding internationally, or are there things that you can do perhaps differently?
Yeah, I mean, the idea, the reason that we are here is to pitch this model that is already in place in Spain. It's already working. Of course, we have a lot of room to grow in Spain for sure. But still, we know as a fact that this problem exists all across Europe, in any geography, and basically it's a platform. So a platform basically needs 2 things. The first one is distributors willing to include their content. That's relatively simple, because since it has no cost, or virtually no cost, every one of in this room would be happy. Okay, let's try, because it's a clean revenue stream that could work. The other part, it's always harder. It's just getting the venues. In this sense, and regrouping everything that has been discussed about AI, in this case, AI has nothing to do, because it has much more to do with human relations and trying to build the trust of the, I would say this go a lot with public institutions, things like that are willing to bet. I always say as a joke when I explain it, when I crack a joke, and this is an election winner, because for an absurdly low amount of money, you were able to bring cinema back where there was a cine club, or there was, and there hasn't been in 50 years, something like that, and I don't know, it cost 3-4K a year, and you get a full cinema. That's why I call it an election winner. And yet there's still a lot of room to do. And for example, a challenge for us would be legislation. We know by heart the Spanish one, but I don't know if it works exactly the same in Germany. Or I know that, for example, in France, we were discussing over lunch that in France, the cultural policies have helped to have a cinema almost everywhere. So it's not a product that it's that useful for France, because they already bet on that. But how did they bet on that? With public money. That's why it's tricky, and the approach shall be different. But we're more than open to adapt. We are very flexible in these kind of things, because we are learning. We have lucky to be backed up by a solid company such as Contracorriente. So we are testing the waters. We want to know where this model is leading us to.
Yeah, there's a bit of the Airbnb thing going on, where I can see where in some places they'll try to legislate to stop you getting in.
I mean, I like the analogy, but it's something regarding, I don't know, we were discussing about the distance to commercial cinemas. In Spain, for example, there's a law regarding when a new release is considered a new release for 1 year. So if there's public funding behind it, you have to charge at least €3 per ticket, things like that, that are obviously country depending. So it's something that we will for sure have to learn as we grow.
But it's interesting, because all of you, to one extent or another, are really about making things that you already do much more efficient. It's like you've employed someone more expensive to come in and do a lot of the things that you might think that you would want to do anyway. But I think what's interesting in your case that's not conservative, it's much more than that. When you're looking forward, it's thinking the social experience, that cinema is actually about the future. It is not about the past, and that's quite a big bet.
The anecdote that we were using, and I think it's pretty good, is how do those small cinemas in small towns do the marketing of their movies? I'll tell you how. We send them the poster of the movie, and they share it through the WhatsApp, where everybody in the town is in the same group. So that's the marketing. Hey, on Thursday we're running this movie. And if somebody complains, then maybe next week he gets to choose which movie is shown next week. And that's it. And of course you can try to model, okay, let's try to do a survey. No, I mean that's it. You get direct input from your neighbor that, hey, I've already seen this one. I want to see another one. Things like that is the kind of things that we have learned as we were building and then as we are experiencing with the product.
Yeah, but it's innovation that's almost the opposite of what we've been talking about in recent years, which is that everything's about individual consumption. But that notion, I think that, we're talking about not just audiences, we're talking about communities, we're talking about places. That feels to me like such a positive idea.
That's the romantic side of the project, I would say. I love this project precisely for this reason. We've been hearing for 10, 20 years that theaters are dying, and we see that that's actually not true. But not only that, we are trying to reverse that, because we feel that even if everybody has several platforms at home, this experience is completely different. And watching in a theater or watching community, and even the weight of, okay, the movie that's coming next next other, it's a different feeling. And it generates different dynamics as well that we believe are powerful and are worth fighting for them.
It's interesting. All of your, I know this is because of the brilliant design of Europa distribution, but all of from the back end to the front end, you could see how all of your stuff is could be integrated. Is that where we're moving towards, in people's opinions, where we're going to get a much more singular experience where you can be thinking about the audience right the way through to the back end quite seamlessly? Is that where we're heading? Someone give me a clue, maybe.
Oh yeah, definitely. I do think that as you guys have seen, Molten can cover a lot, but it comes with a modular approach. So you can basically pick only one module and integrate it with other tools. And we've been it's all API-able, so to say. So it can integrate with a lot of different tools, digital tools. And I was thinking, for example, just delivering directly from Molten directly to your DCS, as you call it, would be possible. We can get the insight from the market and do that metadata enrichment based on what you guys do, the data that you collect. You can have a task reminder in Molten that manages your workflow, says, hey, you need to trigger social post right now, and boom, it goes via API directly to your product, and it goes back when it's done to check the box that it has been done at this date. This is totally possible. We do it already. A lot of clients integrate data from Molten directly onto their website. So this is definitely what we are looking at right now. Instead of developing everything in-house, you can just partner up with companies and make things easy integrated. So short answer is yes.
That's great, and you're all kind of agreeing with that anyway, which is good because we only have 1 minute left, so we can give you a little kind of. I think what's really interesting, having looked at innovation labs over a long period of time, is we do seem to have entered a slightly different era. And it's one where the initial question would always be, oh, that's great, but what the hell has that got to do with me as an independent distributor? How can I afford that kind of approach? I think we are moving to a world where that's a lot of it's AI-driven, but not only AI-driven, where I think technology, the way that technology is working is much more intuitive. It's much more human. There is that sense that you use the word ownership, which is very good, that you as distributors can get a whole load of things doing without having to employ people, without having to learn some crazy new coding. And maybe it's losing some of the fear factor. Maybe that's one of the things that I'm getting from all of you. It doesn't feel like scary stuff. Whether your things work or not, or whether it's the one that you choose, because there will be a lot of competition in this market in your area, as you're well aware. But in each case, there is nothing in what you're doing that feels like science fiction. It feels like something that could be done now. And AI's whole promise, I think, is to make it even more personal, to the point where people are giving it names. So I think it's an interesting point for all of you in terms of, you're not just in terms of your marketing to them, but it's an interesting point, I think, in the history of the use of technology within distribution. And let's see whether that translates into exciting results over the coming years. So thanks to the panel. Thanks to East Meets West, this fantastic festival. And thanks, as ever, to Europa Distribution for putting on a thought-provoking session. Thank you. Enjoy your day.